Hi, I'm Wayne Wright, former keyboard sax player at the Younger Half, and I'm on my second series of interviewing former Younger Half musicians. First one I interviewed Juan Rios, guitar player, and this time we're going to interview Juan Lopez, which is our premier frontman for the Younger Half. Say hello to the camera, Juan.
Hello, everybody. Good to be here this afternoon with everybody.
Cool, man. So, okay, Juan, we're going to take the audience back to your fetal stage. No, I'm just kidding about that. I do understand that you were born in Spain. And fill us in about your very earliest years, what your parents did for a living, and how you ended up in Victorville.
So my dad was in the Merchant Marines. He left Spain and went to Cuba and was there for a while and then joined the U.S. Air Force in the U.S. My mom and I stayed behind and we came later in a boat. I came over to the U.S. when I was 13 months old.
13 months, wow.
So my dad was in the Air Force. We went from New York to Tennessee where my two sisters were born. He was stationed on a base there. And then after 4 years, we transitioned to the high desert in Victorville.
George, right?
George Air Force Base.
Air Force. We played there, remember?
Yeah.
Probably several times. Now, your dad, was he an officer? Was he an enlisted man?
He was a master tech sergeant.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, he was in the Air Force 15 years and got out because of health reasons.
Yeah. Good for you guys. And then did he work again after he got out?
Yeah, he worked as a civil engineer for 16 years in the city of Riverside. Then worked in the Air Force base, the Marine base, in Barstow for another few years.
Nice. Yeah, very cool. Yeah. And so I'm going to take you back to the Younger Half's manager, Sarah Hinojos, our dear friend. Sarah passed a few years ago, but she's the mother of the band's leaders, Tommy and Jimmy Hinojos. So Juan, how did Sarah and your mom get to know each other, and how did your mom evolve into becoming the band's stage clothing designer?
So my mom was a seamstress, and she made clothing. And I happen to mention to the group that my mom made clothes. And when we were having a meeting one time in reference to next level stuff, what are we going to do to up our game? I mentioned that my mom made outfits, and so we scheduled a meeting, and Sarah liked what she heard, the band liked what they heard. So it was kind of like, let's test the waters. And so as a matter of fact, you can see here some of the outfits right here that my mom made.
Pretty cool one.
That she ended up making like 15 different outfits.
Yeah. Because I remember when the band first started getting outfits, we'd go to the mall, San Bernardino Mall, and get Angel Flight suits for $15. So it definitely upped our game a lot, So that's pretty cool, man. So, Juan, how didn't you assume your role as the band's frontman after we downsized from an 8-piece horn band into a 4-piece band? That's when you became the frontman.
Yeah, so when I joined the band, I was a backup singer, and I only sang lead like on 4 songs.
Really? Yeah. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so I sang lead on 4 songs. So when the band broke up, and it broke down to just basically me and Jimmy, and then we ended up adding Juan Rios and ultimately Victor, and we went on the road 2 years just as a 4. They were like, well, what are you going to do? Since I was only singing background vocals for the majority of the gig and sang lead on 4 songs, so they were like, I guess you're the lead vocalist. And so I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I busted Juan one time. Juan's actually a very good keyboard player, but he kept it under wraps because he didn't want to be stuck on the keyboards and stuff. But he's actually pretty good. Juan, you had some classical lessons and stuff. I remember that. You're a kid. Yeah. So you attended high school in Victorville, and were you with the attend high school with all the guys, the musicians, including Victor Garcia, Jimmy Hinojos, and Juan Rios? Did you go to school with all those guys?
So Jimmy and I graduated together.
Oh, okay.
We graduated class of 75. But I went to school with Tommy. Tommy had graduated before. He was 2 years ahead, and or 2 or 3 years ahead. But we were in school together. And Juan Rios and Victor, they were a few years behind. So I didn't really know them. Juan Rios knew my mom because Juan Rios and Juan Rios' mom and my mom were real tight because they were together at the church. They served together at the Catholic Church in Victorville. And Juan Rios, he was playing in the choir. He played guitar in the choir, so my mom was in the choir as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
that's
So Juan, I understand you were quite the basketball player. Well, in fact, I know you're quite the basketball player because we used to, challenge people every town we went into. We'd have, a basketball game with all the locals, and we almost always won. So did you play in high school and college, or what?
No, I played 1 year in college, but I was a big Laker fan. I used to play a lot on the streets, and that was a lot of fun, just being able to take your game, transform your game from the television to the streets, And well, I played 1 year in college, and so it was a lot of fun. So yeah, whenever we went on the road together, we always carried a basketball with us. So we always made sure that we'd go out and play, and we'd eventually find a group of guys that we would become friends with, that we would play with. So
You know who almost beat us one? The young black kids in Yakima. They were like 14, 15 years old, and we got into a game with them, and they came that close to whipping us. But it was fun, man. We always had fun on the road. So, you remember the 710 bobtail truck that the younger half used to haul our equipment around in? I can remember when one of our female fans got jealous of Juan Rios, the guitar player. She got so mad at him that she graffitied "Bashful Dimples" on the side of her truck. And then from that point forward, we always referred to her truck as Bashful Dimples, like, oh, it's your turn to drive Bashful Dimples to the next city for the gig and so forth. So I don't think we ever bothered to clean off the graffiti. It had too much history to get rid of it. And so speaking of Bashful Dimples, when the band broke up, your church purchased the truck and used it to deliver clothing to 4 families in Mexico. So tell us about your transformation from an R&B frontman into a pastor spreading the gospel.
yeah, so what actually happened was I wanted the church that I was a part of. We were doing quarterly mission trips to Mexico, and so they would take supplies. And so I remembered the truck that we had, and so I ended up buying the truck and donating it to the church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and donating it to the church, and we used it quite a few times to go down and travel to Mexico, take supplies, either building supplies or food supplies or clothing supplies. It was a perfect truck for that. We had more than enough room to be able to do that. But that transition for me, when I transitioned out of the band in 1986, I gave my life to the Lord. And when I got it plugged into the church, I started getting connected with the leadership team and the worship team. So since I had a background in music, I started playing different instruments. I played bass, drums, keys, percussion, and just kind of served as a utility, what we call a utility man, for 7 years before I became a lead worship leader. And during that time, I got ordained. I started a ministry, a worship ministry, and started traveling the nations, had opportunities, got invitations to be able to travel to Asia, Singapore, China, Philippines, Indonesia, Africa, Spain.
You thought our band traveled a lot on one.
Yeah.
Now you're on 17-hour plane rides.
Yeah. But it was very life fulfilling to be able to go and share the gospel and teach the word of God and just minister to people and just be a light in some challenging places. So I love that did that the first time that I smuggled Bibles into China
Wow.
was quite a rush. I could tell some hair-raising stories, but it was fun, all for the gospel. And
And then eventually your wife Irene became a minister too, right?
yeah,
That is so cool.
yeah.
Well, thank you, Juan. It was a nice interview, and hope you guys learned a little bit about the Younger House and how it all went down.